This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider. At the height of lockdown, during that spring when social contact was forbidden, when some of us didn't see another soul for weeks, even months, something extraordinary seems to have happened. The Coram adoption charity says it's seen a rise in the number of people asking to take in children and make them part of their family. It's not just a little bump, it's up 24% on the year before. Could it be that lockdown itself is behind it? Well, the charity's Sue Lowndes is with me. And Sue, you've been dealing with what is really quite a significant rise in inquiries. What do you think is inspiring so many people to consider adoption?
I think it's that people have had more time to think, particularly in those early days in that wonderful spring we had when people were at home. I think it was a time for people to really think about what mattered to them in life, what were their own goals that they were wanting to achieve in life, what was really important. And I suppose it's heartwarming, the fact that people have thought, well, actually, family life is something that we really value. And I guess a lot of people have been thinking about adoption for some time, but with the opportunity, I guess, of everyone working at home, just for those early months in the lockdown, it probably led to people saying, well, let's make some of those really big life decisions and let's do it now.
Were you expecting this? Because at the time when this rise is coming up, we're right in the middle of lockdown. We're being told to stay away from each other, and yet here are people who want to reach out during that time.
I think it probably was a surprise, actually. You never quite know what's going to encourage somebody to make that call. You don't know what's going on in their minds. But I guess as we've come to reflect on it now, and we think about what that whole experience was for us individually, we know that we were thinking about those important things in life, what actually mattered. But the numbers have been much greater than we had anticipated. And it wasn't that we were particularly promoting adoption, far from it. You know, we were going about managing our businesses so we could deliver adoption in a new way, because we were having to learn how to do everything online. A week or two before, we were office-based workers. And then, we knew it was coming, and you pick up your laptops and your phones and you say, okay, so next week we're going to be completely virtual.
But what about the children that you're working with? This must be, I would expect, or at least would hope, a really good thing for them, because I bet a lot of them were wondering, if we're in a time of isolation, who's going to be looking for a new family?
Absolutely. And we've been very pleased that the children whose arrangements we weren't able to follow through at the point of initial point of lockdown, all of that has been worked through now. And so lots of families have been made during this period. Lots of children have gone to live with adoptive families, which we're really pleased about. But there are lots of children waiting. There's around 200 children in London alone that are looking for adoptive families. And that's why business as normal. We wanted to keep everything happening because we didn't want to miss any opportunity for a child who's looking for a family to be adopted by, misses out as a result of what's happened. And so we're absolutely delighted. We've now got a steady group of people coming through who hopefully in the next couple of months will be starting to look and be matched with a child. I mean, that's how quick it can be. We're usually the assessment process, if it runs through and there's no gaps, it's about 6 months. So potentially anyone coming forward now could, in principle, be looking at being matched with a child in the new year. So that's what motivates us. That's what we're doing. And the new national campaign that's just come out this week is very much giving out those sort of positive messages about saying to people, this is the time to come forward and think about adoption.
So for those people who are thinking about adoption and coming forward, what kind of advice can you give to them? What's the first step?
I would say the first thing is become informed, understand what adoption's about, This is a huge commitment you're making. This is a lifelong commitment, which was hugely rewarding, but you do need to do your research. So take time, read the information that's out there, and then just take that bold, confident step is to give us a call and say we're interested in adopting, and then we take some basic information, and then normally the first thing that happens is you go to one of our information events, and then we take it on from there.
Is it worthwhile, Sue?
Absolutely, no question about it. Having a family is absolutely worthwhile. Having a family through adoption is absolutely worthwhile. Being able to change a child's life through adoption is absolutely worthwhile. It's transformational. It's absolutely transformational. And I guess that might be one of the things that has probably prompted so many people to make an inquiry, is that when things were looking so bleak for everyone, people probably, thought, well, this is a transformational opportunity for me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this now. So absolutely worthwhile. And if you've ever been thinking about it, this is a good time. Really is a good time to make that inquiry.
Search for the Leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.